Hi guys, it's Yasmin here. I'm going to be on air in about 15 minutes. So I thought I would do some readings. I'm going to be using some special new cards. Sorry, but I don't appear to have my headphones plugged in, which is kind of a problem. Hi, say hello and let me know where you are, please. That'd be awesome. So it's going to be, let's see, Olga Rivera. Now, where are you from, Olga, with a beautiful name like that? I'm actually reminded of Designated Survivor, because I think one of the characters on there is called, oh, here we go. I'm plugged in now. Sorry, guys. Okay. Right. So, Olga Rivera. Okay. But where is your name from? Is it, how do you say it? I bet you say it with a beautiful accent, don't you? Sorry, I know you're not allowed to talk about people where they come from anymore. It's so sad. I'm so into countries and the whole planet Earth. Nicole, hello from North Carolina. Clarissa from the UK. Where in the UK, Clarissa? Betty Ann Romano. Hi, Yasmin. Where are you? Olga from Rivera from Puerto Rico. Okay, so I'm just going to say this. I don't know if it's like politically incorrect or something. And if it is, please forgive me. But I've been watching that show Designated Survivor, and there's been a big thing about Aaron Shaw, whose name I think was the same as Olga's name. And the way they say it is so amazing. It just sounds like chocolate or something. I don't know. Elaine Curry, hello from Scotland. Betty Ann, hello from RI, Rhode Island. Rhode Island. Thanks, Olga. I would love to be able to talk to you. Please call in so I can hear you say your name. Okay, so I want to show you some new cards I'm going to be using today. I've got my trusty cards here, my trusty, well, you all know these, I don't need to show you, but just in case, my trusty Moonology cards. And hello, Karen in Trenton. I think that's in England. Hi from Florida. Hi from West London, Ginny. Where in West London? Let me just get the microphone in the right place so that when we start. So it's going to be an amazing show, and I just wanted to come on a bit early and do some cards, but also tell you about what's coming up on the show. Pretty's in the eye of the storm. Oh my gosh, I hope you're okay. Morning from Kueli from Sarasota. Okay, so now what I am going to do today is I'm going to be starting to use, for the first time on the show, I'm going to be using these beautiful, let's just choose a card here, these beautiful cards from Colette Barron-Reid. And I actually had a good old chat to Colette yesterday on the phone. I actually don't know Colette that well, but we met in New York earlier this year. And we clicked. In fact, she said a really lovely thing to me yesterday. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying, I hope. She said she saw me, you know, on the other side of the room and thought, I want to be friends with her, which reminds me of a beautiful girlfriend of mine from Australia who said exactly the same thing many years ago when we were at university. Apparently she saw me hanging out after a lecture and thought, I want to be friends with her. And we ended up very good friends. In fact, she was my bridesmaid. So one of my bridesmaids. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes it does work to just go, I want to be friends with that person and, you know, give out the right energy and it can happen. So anyway, so apparently that's what Colette said. And she also had read my book, Moonology, which she liked, apparently. And anyway, so she's adorable. I don't know her work that much, which is actually quite good because it means I'm not fangirling too much. But I've got myself a copy of her cards, which are the Goddess Power cards. And yeah, she's another moonchild. Yeah, I think she's actually, isn't she? And so I'm going to pick a card today. I'm going to pick a card from here in a minute. I have your crystal grid, says Elaine. Which was that for the new moon in Virgo? I have crystal grids all over my living room today. I want to be friends with you. Feels like we are. Yay, Olga, let's be friends. I'll be in New York in October. Come to my workshop and we can have lunch. Actually, while I'm chatting, let me mention that to anyone who is on the East Coast of the United States of America, I'll be doing a workshop at the Open Center in New York at I think it's the end of October, like about October the 27th. So come along to my workshop. We're going to be talking about moon manifesting. Kathy in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm not sure if that's west or east coast of Canada, Kathy, but if it's the east coast, come to my workshop. It's just across the border. Yeah, who else is in sort of anywhere near New York and can pop over? Rhode Island, Betty Ann. I'm pretty sure Rhode Island you can make it to New York. Come on down. We're going, and actually if you book your tickets before, I think it's the 15th of September, you will go into the draw to win a one-on-one reading with me. Yay! I don't do them very often for people who aren't kind of friends of mine, you know, in my personal life, or people I work with. I tend to do it just for people I work with and for friends. But if you would like a reading and you're anywhere in New York and you want to come to my workshop, book before the 15th of September or something around that. Go onto the Open Center, look for Yasmin Boland. You'll find the page, you'll find the details about how to get the reading. And it'll be my pleasure. And Raynette, yes, it is a bit far from you because you're in Australia. And guess what? I think we're going to come either at Christmas or February. So that'll be probably a workshop probably at Bondi Beach in Sydney, assuming they haven't pulled the Bondi Beach Pavilion down by then, because gosh knows they're always threatening to. But if the pavilion, if the PAV is still standing, I'll be doing it at a workshop in Bondi Beach. It's quite controversial, the last workshop I did at Bondi Beach. I won't go into it, but it was a bit controversial, and I think I will do it. I mean, I was quite happy with it, but anyway, we'll see. So your moon guidance are helping so much on my life path and purpose, Elaine. I am so happy to hear it. Thank you. Kathy, I am looking forward to your new book. Can't wait. That will be my Mercury retrograde book, which is on the shelf, so I can't show it to you. I've only got one copy at this point. Are you coming to New Zealand, says Blair. No, I am not coming to New Zealand. I would love to. And I'll tell you where else I would love to go to when we're in Australia next. I would love to go to Tasmania, but I doubt we'll make it there. We might, you never know. I grew up in Hobart, Tasmania, for those of you who know Hobart, Tasmania, and I grew up in Sandy Bay. I went to Farn. It was a very nice place to grow up. And yet I chose to bring my son to London, England, almost like, you know, the exact opposite of Hobart. Like, I wanted him to grow up in a big metropolis, even though I loved growing up in Hobart, Tasmania. Somehow I wanted him to grow up somewhere, I don't know, a big metropolis. So I don't know, hopefully the right decision. So far so good, touch wood. Loved your new moon ceremony, says Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. For those of you who don't know, I am doing new moon and full moon ceremonies now, and I'm doing them for Hay House Radio. I mean, sorry, not Hay House Radio. I'm doing them for Hay House on Facebook. And the big difference about doing them for Hay House is that I have to do them. So I can't just kind of go, oh, you know, I don't feel like it, my hair's a mess, I don't want to get dressed, all my usual excuses. I always feel like it, but I don't necessarily feel like I want to get on camera. I'm overcoming that, as we all have to work through our stuff. Like even now, like this is probably one of the first times I've been on camera without, you know, any makeup whatsoever, but I just didn't have time, and I did have time, I just didn't care so much anymore. I've got a nice little filter on, so you know you can't really see the true disaster I'm sure that I am, but I've been out of the house today, so anyway, blah blah blah. So okay, enough chit chat. Before I do, I'm going to do a card for everybody. I'm going to answer Sharon's question there. Curious if we can use our own crystals for any ceremony. Okay, so that's a really good question. So for those of you who don't know, I've been doing new moon and full moon ceremonies every fortnight, every 2 weeks on the Hay House Facebook page. You can actually register for them on my page, which I know is a bit confusing, but if you go to my page, Yasmin Boland, and you go to events, that should tell you when it is. And I've been doing crystal grids always with the help of my lovely friend that you probably know by now, Rebecca De Bono. So Rebecca is a crystal healer, and thank you, Jessica. Rebecca is a crystal healer who lives in Malta, which is a small island in the Mediterranean just off the coast of Italy. And so she's been working with crystals for I don't know how long. She's one of those people, like, you know, you can ask her anything about crystals and she seems to know the answer. So what she did actually, which is brilliant, she went through my book Moonology. That's my book. And if you know the book, you will know that at Moonology, in Moonology, so every new and full moon, there are sort of 5 main messages, okay? So, for example, we've just had the new moon in Virgo, so the next one's going to be the new moon in Libra. So, for example, the top 5 things to do when the moon is new in Libra are things like really relate, partner up, negotiate, look gorgeous, and regain your identity. And so what Rebecca did is she went through and she came up with crystals that basically work along with the kind of the top 5. I actually started calling them the virtues of the new moon. So the top 5 virtues of the new moon. Now, someone said, can we use our own crystals? And of course you can. What I've done with my grid, I would show you, but I don't think I've got enough time. I've only got 3 minutes. Why aren't I hearing from Hey House? Hang on a second. Usually they say hello to me when we've only got 3 minutes to go. Gail Treadwell is there. Gosh, I'm going to have to get a wriggle on. I've been chatting away. But basically, yes, if you know crystals, use your own crystals. Do whatever you want. Use your own crystals. Do a crystal for whatever it is you want to manifest this month. What I did is I did my crystal grid that sort of Rebecca had suggested, along, you know, all the crystals that she suggested. But then because I'm manifesting something that I still can't tell you about because it's not quite there and I want to keep it to myself until it manifests, because that's a little tip. Don't tell people what you're manifesting until it's manifested. Yeah, hang on. Can you hang on? I just have to check that Hey House can hear me. Oh, I know, I haven't connected. Now I'm connected. Phew. Hi, Roger. Gosh, I'm sorry. I've been chatting away on Facebook Live and I didn't realize that I hadn't connected to you guys. I have promised these guys a card, so I'm going to give them a card. I don't think we're going to do meditation this week. Thanks, Roger. Sorry. Yay. All right. I'm going to give all my Facebook Live people a card because I promised them one and I've got like 1 minute now because I've been gas bagging away. Okay. All right. So, yes, the short answer is you can choose your own crystals for the grid. Someone said, hey, can you still get your crystal grid? We do a new one every new moon and we do the same one every full moon. Long story for another time. Here is the card for everybody who is watching now and who watches this in the future. And it's from Colette Baron Reed's beautiful new deck. And look what we've got, Metis, the goddess Metis, who's the goddess of wisdom. And I would like to read you from the book, but I'm not sure now if I've got enough time. But let's just say, I actually can't find the book either. Sorry, I feel really disorganized today, but I'm not. Like I'm quite got myself together, really. So Metis, the goddess of wisdom, I mean, clearly it just means we're all getting older and wiser. What do you think? Something like that? Or maybe whatever your question is, be wise. And the best way I know to be wise, oh my gosh, I'm on, is meditate. The answers will come. Okay, here we go. I haven't even told you. Really exciting guest. Okay, hello everybody out there all over the world. This is Yasmin Boland coming to you live and direct from my living room here in London, England. And also, not just on Hay House Radio, but also on Facebook Live. So if you have Facebook, find my page, Yasmin Boland, B-O-L-A-N-D, and tune in and you can see me and my little Buddha that I've got just here. I've been chatting away talking about stuff to people on Facebook Live, and the show almost caught me by surprise. So this show is called Weekly Astrology with Yasmin, for those of you who don't know the show. And it's called that because guess what? We look at the astrology for the week ahead. So I will be doing that. I will also be taking your calls. So if you have a call, if you have a question, if you know your horoscope chart, if you don't know your horoscope chart, any of that, ring up. I would be absolutely delighted to look at your chart. I'm going to do a card for everybody who listens to the end of the show, as I always do. And the other thing is, I've got a guest on this week, and it's really exciting. So if you are a regular listener, you will know that last week I talked about the fact that while I was on holidays, I read a book called Holy Hell. I actually read more than one book, but that was one of the most exciting ones I read this summer. And I was given this book by someone, and I'm very interested in the subject of gurus, teachers. And a little story springs to mind as soon as I say the word guru, actually. I remember once writing about Deepak Chopra and sending him the copy to say, is that okay what I've written? And I'd called him a meditation guru, and he said, yes, that's fine. Take out the word guru. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, guru, I mean, Deepak knows this because he's Indian, but he also knows that the word is a bit loaded. Guru basically means, well, actually, I think it means dispeller of darkness. So someone who brings the light because it dispels the darkness. I think gu is dispeller and ru is light, is darkness, something like that. So guru basically, I'm pretty sure means dispeller of darkness. So someone who brings the light. And for those of you who don't know, I actually have, I have a couple of gurus. The other thing a guru you can say it means is a teacher. You know, I refer to my spiritual teacher in India. I've got a couple of teachers. I actually still consider, even though everything that happened, I consider Doreen Virtue one of my greatest spiritual teachers. I consider Jonathan Kainer, the late great astrologer, UK astrologer, one of my greatest spiritual teachers. I consider Kuan Yin, the goddess of mercy, one of my greatest spiritual teachers. And I have a teacher in India called Narayani Amma, who I also consider one of my greatest spiritual teachers. Now, Narayani Amma is actually like a real life guru. Narayani Amma is a man who is said to embody the form of the triple goddess Lakshmi, Saraswati and Durga. And I've been going to see Amma on and off for, I don't know, about 15, 16 years. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that my time with Amma, which has been, you know, limited, but I've probably seen Amma like 10 times in my life so far, maybe 12, changed my life beyond recognition. There's no doubt about it. And if you're watching on Facebook, you can see I've got this little Rudraksha, which is a sacred seed, which Amma gave me, which I wear everywhere. So I'm kind of interested in gurus, and, you know, truth be told, I'm actually toying with the idea of writing a bit of fiction around the idea of gurus, just because I find the whole concept so fascinating. And, you know, gurus tend to, especially in India, they kind of will lean towards the claim, or their devotees will lean towards the claim that they're actually kind of supernatural, you know, like avatars, gods on earth. Anyway, so I got this book, Holy Hell, which has a beautiful purple cover and a picture of someone meditating, and the someone is Gail Treadwell, who's an Australian like me. And I read it, and I found it absolutely fascinating. I thought it was extremely well written. It totally transported me to India. As I said, I've been to India probably, 10, 15 times. And I mean, I literally felt like I was in India. When I finished the book, I was like, I don't feel like I'm in India anymore. It's really strange. Now, what has this got to do with astrology? Okay, let me tell you, this is not a tenuous link. This is a really, really strong link, and it's why Gail Treadwell, the author of Holy Hell, is on the show this week, and in fact she's waiting on the line, so I won't chat away for too long. But basically, this year sees a series of links by what we call the outer planets. So the outer planets are the slow-moving planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Okay. Now, the thing is with those outer planets, they move slowly. And the analogy you can think of is that they're kind of on the outside of the, it's not a circle, it's an elliptic shape that goes around the sun. But it's a bit like, you know, a racetrack where if you've got a running track where you've got, it's better to be on the inner circle, isn't it? Because that's the shortest distance, and that's why they stagger the starts when you have runners, you know, all starting off. I hope I'm making sense here. So the outer planets just go more slowly because there's no staggered starts in the solar system. And this year we have a lot of connections. 3. We've got Jupiter square Neptune. Now, Jupiter is the planet of lots of, okay? It's the amplification planet. And it's Jupiter square Neptune. Neptune is the planet of the divine, okay? The divine, the cosmos. And the gurus are definitely in the realms of the divine, or claim to be. Now, that's quite confusing, okay? Jupiter square Neptune basically is like astrological language for confusing. But we also have Saturn, the great teacher, sextile, that's harmonious, Neptune, the divine. So we have, on the one hand, lots of confusion when it comes to the divine, and we have teaching when it comes to the divine. So at the start of the year, those of you who have been listening to me all year, or who've read my Moonology diary, which refers to this, I think, know that 2019 is very much a year about learning about the divine. Okay, so that's kind of the picture. Now, Gail Treadwell is very interesting because she worked for, I think, nearly two decades with, guess who? Very famous, the Hugging Saint. The Hugging Saint. And so she has a lot of information. I mean, do you know the Hugging Saint? Have you heard of the Hugging Saint? Basically, the Hugging Saint is a woman, an Indian woman, who more or less kind of became famous without trying too hard. I mean, as a lot of these people do. And something Gail didn't really refer to in the book, but she became known for the amazing hugs that she gives. So people literally queue up for hours. I've actually done it. Queue up for hours to get a hug from the Hugging Saint. I actually have always thought of her as the Hugging Mother, but apparently she's also, or better known as the Hugging Saint. So Gail Treadwell worked with the Hugging Saint for, I think, nearly 2 decades. So I've got a little bio on Gail just before I bring on the show. I'll give you her official biography. So Gail Treadwell was born in Queensland, Australia. In 1978, after several uninspiring teenage years, she gave Australia a kiss on the cheek and took off to explore the big, wide world, okay? At the end of 1999, after 2 decades of service as the personal attendant to Amma, the Hugging Saint, she managed to untangle herself from the web of myth and indoctrination and made her daring break from the organisation. Yes, that's right. She actually didn't love working with the Hugging Saint all the time. She actually more or less claims to have been abused, in fact, including things like being kicked. I mean, like proper abuse. Her memoir, Holy Hell, was published in October 2013 and sent shockwaves through the Amma community, which I'm sure it did. And I'd just like to differentiate here between the Hugging Mother Amma and my teacher, which is Narayani Amma. Amma means mother. They swiftly retaliated with legal harassment, defamatory websites against her, and she was slapped with 5 counts of criminal charges by the Kerala State Police in India. So there you go. They were not happy that this Australian who'd worked with the Hugging Saint for nearly 20 years, I think, I'll double check that as soon as we speak to Gail, they weren't happy that she had come out and said all this stuff. So I'm afraid if you're on Facebook, you are going to have to hop over to www.hayhouseradio.com, hayhouseradio.com. You can listen live for free, but you're not going to be able to hear her because she's in my headphones. So I'm going to give a good kiss to the Facebook family. See you later.